Mona Wang was in mental distress and needed help, but when a police officer arrived to her home in Kelowna, she says things got worse.
She just said, like, Mona, get up, stop being dramatic. And there was just no compassion, no empathy, and, she didn't try to de-escalate the situation.
Video provided to CBC News shows an RCMP officer dragging the nursing student down a hallway and stepping on her head.
It just felt so degraded. I felt like I was so powerless in that moment.
The incident is raising questions over the role of police officers in similar situations. Since April, at least 4 people have died during police wellness checks, with police intervention disproportionately impacting Black and Indigenous communities and people of color. And some experts say that has an impact in how police interactions unfold.
If the police also are not trained to understand and be empathic to people who are culturally and racially different, who are living in remote communities, who are low income, then all the training in the world in terms of equipping people to de-escalate a situation doesn't really matter.
In Vancouver, some police officers have extra training and respond to mental health calls with a psychiatric nurse, but most police officers take 2 days of crisis intervention training every 3 years.
We are open to change. It's 2020. Policing evolves, the city evolves, people evolve.
The head of the RCMP says officers respond to 10,000 mental health calls each month and says the situation will improve by looking at the system as a whole.
Well, it's not about defunding, it's about funding everything that goes along, and I think we can work better with our mental health practitioners.
Some advocates say change won't happen overnight and that it needs to start with funding social services so that people who are struggling with things like mental health and addiction can get the help they need before police are even called.
I think it represents a lack of mental health services and the fact that many people can only receive vital services at the point where they're in absolute crisis and distress.
Wang has filed a civil claim against the officer involved who denies using excessive force. She says change starts with better understanding the people police are being called to help.
Without a, solid understanding of these issues, I don't think it's possible to perform care or to even handle a situation well.
She'd like to see funding for police spent on things like addictions counseling, housing, and mental health. Andrea Ross, CBC News, Vancouver.